And I'm live. We are live with Sarah Packer, Pinterest guru, genius, awesomeness.
Tell me more.
I am Jordana Mark. I am social media expert and CEO at Make Your Mark. For those of you who don't know me yet, we're going to do this every week, every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, where basically we just bring on an expert like Sarah to talk about their expertise and what they are super awesome at. And we're going to teach entrepreneurs and small business owners how to make their mark online. So let's do this. Let's jump right in. Sarah, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, sure. Hello. I'm Sarah Packer. I am a Pinterest expert, guru, know-it-all. Love
Yeah.
Pinterest. I got into Pinterest about, I think, like 3 years ago, something like that. And then I realized from doing Pinterest so much that you could actually, you know, help people market themselves on Pinterest. And so that's what I really love to do is help people market themselves on Pinterest and use Pinterest every day. It's a dream.
So awesome. You're the coolest.
Yeah. I know.
All right, we're jumping right in. We're going straight in for the good stuff. When
Yes.
and how did you discover your love for Pinterest?
Oh my gosh, I love talking about myself. So thank you so much for having me on. So like I said before, I just use Pinterest all the time. I'm very into DIY and crafting. So, just to get ideas, build my dream home, things like that, search for engagement rings, what any normal person would do. And
Sorry, I
hey,
had to.
right. And I was just like kind of in this job where I wasn't getting a lot out of it and I wasn't really happy. And my passion really comes from, particularly women in small business and just helping them, reach their target audience. And I never really connected with Instagram. Sorry. I never really connected to Facebook. Definitely not to Twitter. Trouble also with LinkedIn, but Pinterest for whatever reason, just it's so interesting to me. It's so visual. I love it. And I don't know, it just kind of pops in my head. There's Instagram influencers and Facebook managers. Maybe there's something for Pinterest. So while I was on Pinterest, I typed in, like Pinterest management, and apparently it's a whole thing, it's a whole world. And I was just like, I got to learn more about this. And that's really
Freaking
what
cool.
started my journey.
You're so cool. Okay, what kind of business needs a Pinterest account? I really like this question. I'm excited to hear your answer for it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because this was one of the first questions, like the first time I told anybody outside of my family that I was becoming a Pinterest manager. It was someone at a park, and so she said, is Pinterest good for B2B, business to business, or is it good for B2C? And I was just like, oh, I didn't know there was a difference. So first of all, Pinterest
So
is
first of all, she
ideal.
did some research and figured out what's the difference between B2B and
Yes,
B2C.
exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
I was just like, file that in the back of my head for later. No, I don't think so. Sorry. So I I thought about it, and really Pinterest is for B2C business, so business to customer, to consumer. And if you go a little bit deeper, it's not necessarily about just like having a service or a product that you're selling. Pinterest is very much a visual platform, very similar to Instagram, but it's a search engine. So it's very visual. You have to have a lot of content, or I can talk about it later. You don't necessarily need to have a ton of content or a ton of products, um, but a business that is relied very heavily on visualizations, creating content, like very visually pleasing products that they're trying to market.
Yeah, it's funny. Pinterest and Instagram have a lot in common, especially in like that whole way, but like they're so different. It's
I
insane.
know. They're like cousins, I guess. Second
Yeah, yeah.
cousins. Family reunion.
Totally. I just want to say really quick, just because I forgot to say in the intro, that we have a whole list of questions over here for Sarah, and she's going to answer all of them. But if anyone else has any other questions while we go along, whether you are watching live or in the replay later, Sarah will answer them in the comments or live over here. So feel free to ask any questions that you have.
Like I said, I love talking, so just give me an excuse, guys.
All right. How do you get found on Pinterest?
Okay, so Pinterest is a visual search engine where really you have to think of it kind of the same as Google, what you type in Google and what comes up on Google. But with Pinterest, there's, SEO, so search engine optimization. So there's certain keywords that you want to put on your pins. And pins are the things, the tiles that you see when you go onto Pinterest or what you're uploading to your business account on Pinterest. So I tell my clients this: anywhere that you type in anything. So it's not just the title, it's not just the description, it's also how you save your photo, your description in your about section, any place that you can input text is how it's going to help you get found on Pinterest. So if somebody's searching I'm working with a client right now. She does really beautiful fused glass art. So if anybody's looking for glass decor, fused glass art, fused glass platters, whatever, these are all keywords that you can sprinkle in wherever you put in content, where you type in text.
Keywords,
And
not necessarily hashtags, just
right. So
keywords.
that's another
We'll
family
get
resemblance. Yeah, but
that.
yeah. Hashtags are something of a thing on Pinterest, but they're not as heavily relied on as it is on Instagram. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
You're
It's so
definitely
interesting. I
yeah.
remember I remember the first time you told me that like Pinterest works like SEO and like more like Google website style than like social media. And I found that to be fascinating because like who knew, you know?
And that's a really big problem that a lot of people going into Pinterest. And it's the thing that I always try to drive home when I'm talking to people is that Pinterest is a search engine. You're not there necessarily to connect to like one-on-one to your potential customers or to your target audience. You're there to just make your presence known and have people click on the pins to be brought to your website. So it takes a little bit of a different mindset.
Totally.
And you still have to make it sound natural. You shouldn't do keyword stuffing, which is, just saying like, oh, holiday gifts, Christmas, Hanukkah, boom, 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 boom. You have to make it
Right.
sound nicer and
You wanna
more
trick
less
the
less
search
than
engine or whatever.
exactly less like a robot.
Well, I actually want to ask you a question that's not on our question list. If you don't have a website, which you should have a website, but if you don't have a website,
Yeah.
is it worth being on Pinterest?
You need to have a URL you need to have a link to direct people from Pinterest to the pin to whatever the picture is connected to on the pin. Pinterest is so anti-spam, like so
Well, what if it's a
anti-spam.
link to like your Facebook page or your YouTube channel? Is that like good enough or it should be a website?
It really should be a website, honestly, and there's so many free domains that you could use now, like
Mhm.
Wix.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forget the other ones, but Wix is a big one.
yeah,
Blogspot, I don't know, because it's not just for e-commerce, Pinterest is a really big place for blogging, for bloggers, and
yeah.
you can't upload a pin if it doesn't have a URL. Like I don't think Pinterest will let you, and also if a pin does go up,
Hmm.
that doesn't have a URL, or that it seems spammy, Pinterest will delete your pins, and they will suspend your account or delete your
Wow,
account. Yeah,
crazy. All right.
the world we live in.
What does the perfect pin look like? Nobody's
Okay.
perfect, but your pin can be.
Oh, it's true. Um, the perfect pin, really, Pinterest comes out with the same information every year, basically saying that the pins that are most clicked on tend to be in the pinkish, orangish colors. Pins are
Really?
different than Facebook, different than Instagram, different than anything. They're not square, they're vertical. They're, you know, I don't know.
Longer.
The camera's confusing me. Everything's opposite.
I know it's really
I'm
trippy.
smart, I swear. Um, so pins are vertical, and so they say that vertical pins tend to perform better. If you have a picture of a person modeling your product, they say Pinterest says that it is, people who are not looking directly at the camera, their face is half cut off, there's like a very certain aesthetic that Pinterest has. And this is another tip that I give to clients of mine when they ask me this exact question, what should my pins be looking like? And I say, the best thing that you can do is just spend some time on Pinterest and see what catches your eye. There's some pins that are
Totally.
very, very clearly not good pins. The lighting is bad. The colors are too dark. There was one social media influencer that I was following, and she made all of her pins black and white. And it had very fancy fonts, and the fonts were very on point and whatever, but it's just black and white is just not the aesthetic for Pinterest. It's just very fluffy, very
Not
girly.
gonna reel you in as much.
Exactly. And she changed it. She changed it to be, more pinks and
Wow.
things like that, which I thought was really interesting. And she changed it pretty quickly. And
I
Pinterest
love
is
when
the
you
same.
catch on to people with those kinds of things, you know? Like,
Yeah,
I
I was
got
following
you. I
her.
saw that wasn't working.
Yeah, and I was really surprised that she did it in the first place because it didn't match her. And that's another thing. It didn't match her website. It
Mm.
didn't,
Oh,
yeah,
that's already, you're already
yeah,
hurting
all
my
of it was just a
branding
little bit
soul.
messy,
Oh no.
right? And
Okay. Is Pinterest relevant for an Israeli-based business or Hebrew-speaking market?
okay, this is a really good question because if you asked me this question a year ago, I would say not so much. But
I was there at the talk where you said not so
yeah,
much.
okay, so it's good that we're having
True
this talk
story.
again because
True
it's
story.
definitely there's a really big update with that. For whatever reason, Pinterest hasn't really caught on like it has caught on in America. Like it hasn't caught on in Israel, like it's caught on in America, South America, Europe. Um, Alana, yes.
I guess.
And so I actually was at so many people that I knew in Israel, like not just Israelis, but Americans also, they weren't really so into Pinterest. Like in America, it's very much a cultural thing where it's just like, oh, that baby shower is so Pinterest, and
Mhm.
she tries to lead a Pinterest perfect life.
Yeah.
So I think it's much more of a cultural thing, but I see now that Pinterest is really catching on. And I first saw it where I went to a Sedna, a workshop, like a do-it-yourself woman, like build build everything in your home. And the
Mhm.
person giving a talk was an interior designer, and so she's like, oh, let me tell you about this thing that I get all my ideas from. It's called Pinterest. It's amazing. And everyone's like, oh, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like,
Awesome.
yeah, people are getting more introduced to that. And then I was working with an Israeli client, and she wanted to know if she could post her pins in Hebrew. And at first I was like, no way, nobody's searching in Hebrew. But I did a search in Hebrew. You know, you have to do the research before you tell
Totally.
people, you know, what it is. And honestly, a year ago when I would type things in Hebrew, there was nothing, maybe one or two things. But I see now there's big Israeli businesses that are typing a lot. All of their posts are in Hebrew, their entire profile, even with Judaica items and products that are made in Israel, and Israeli-based small business owners are beginning to realize the power of Pinterest and how they can reach beyond, because so many of these businesses, their target audience is in America, and you know they're on Instagram, and they usually want to do something to supplement the Instagram, and they're not getting that with Facebook some of the time.
Yeah.
So they go to Pinterest, and Pinterest is just such a great way for them to get found by this or American or European target audience. So I
I just
definitely,
want to be like a Sarah fangirl for a minute over here and say that I remember when you gave the talk last time I came to one of your talks, you said that um, Israeli or Hebrew speaking people, you don't need to be on Pinterest right now because it's like not really happening. But if you get on Pinterest, then you'll be one of the first ones up there and you'll start the market and there will be a Hebrew speaking market. So I'm gonna be a little
yeah.
Sarah fangirl right now and say maybe there's a Hebrew speaking Pinterest market because of you.
Oh, I'll take it.
That's what I remembered from your talk. And that's I even recommended it to a few clients and potential clients who asked me if they should be on Pinterest in Hebrew. And I was like, well, my Pinterest guru told me, and I gave
Yeah.
them their advice.
Yeah, and it makes me so happy because I am not kidding. It's a shock in the best way because um I I think right when I started around 3 years ago, I would type in Israel, and there would be nothing, not even anything anti-Israel, nothing
Crazy.
pro-Israel. It would just be a picture
That's
of the Dead
I know
Sea.
it's bad when it's not even anti-Israel
I
stuff.
know, that's what I was saying. Like, where's all the anti stuff? Like,
Where's all
seriously?
the hate, you guys?
I know. It's like, what? Um, so yeah, and recently I was working with a Judaica client, and I typed in, something simple like matzah trays or like Seder plates or something, and there were so many,
Crazy.
so many. And then now when I type in Israel, there's so much. It
That's
makes me
awesome.
so happy. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Okay, which scheduling apps are best for Pinterest? And I'm going to add on to that with are any of them free?
Okay. So the be all end all of Pinterest scheduling apps, or it's just one app. It's called Tailwind. It
Mhm.
is it has such a monopoly on the market. I can't even suggest anything else because
Mm.
Tailwind just does it all, because I think they started an Instagram part as well. I've never used it for Instagram, but
I saw it
for
had an Instagram section. I never tried it either.
yeah, but Tailwind, like they started out as a Pinterest schedule. They actually pushed out other Pinterest schedulers off of the market. They have a really crazy good free trial. It's 100 free pins. They also have something called tribes, where you join a group of people and you all share each other's pins. So it gets you more visibility on Pinterest by reaching other target audiences that you normally would not have reached. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so Tailwind, it gives you extra analytics, like really, really good analytics. Um,
Well, I just dropped the
and
link to that one in the comments for anyone who's interested.
yeah, Tailwind definitely, if you have a lot going on, even they say it's 1 month free, but you can extend the 100 pins. You can use the 100 pins in 2 days, or you can use it over the course of 3 months. It's just 100 pins. And also if you refer Tailwind to people, you get you get more free months or more free pins. Also, I think it's a very a very affordable plan for people who
Do you
have,
remember how much it costs?
last time I checked, it was somewhere like $9.50 or $10 a month. And that's not with like the premium, I think is $15 a month. But I
Mhm.
think you can do really, really well just with the regular plan.
And do you think it's worth getting for someone who even just has one Pinterest account for themselves?
Well, definitely if you have a business account, not if you have a personal account. Um, it depends. It depends on how much you need to pin. Like there's some clients that
Yeah.
I have that they hand make everything, and it's a very, like, they make one thing and it's very unique, and it takes time.
Mhm.
So they're focusing on that. But if
Right.
you're I work with people, I work with some people who have over 700 items in their shop,
Wow.
and
Right. In which case
you
you're
can't,
pinning like all the time.
yeah, you can't be pinning all the time. So you sit down and you schedule everything a month in advance,
Wow.
and and Tailwind also tells you the optimal times of pinning and lets you know when your audience is on Pinterest. And
Yeah.
so
I'm
yeah.
a big fan of scheduling, so Tailwind sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. Should you be deleting underperforming pins? And can you define
Wah, wah.
underperforming?
Okay, this is such a like touchy subject on across like all platforms. You can get one post that has like 50 likes, or and another post that has one. It reminds me of that, that person who's like feeling cute, might delete later, because like they want the likes, they don't really, don't really
So
care.
true. I made a TikTok about that where like, sometimes you put up a post and you're like, I'm gonna get 1 million likes. And then you're like, why isn't anyone liking my post? That was
Right.
genius.
And then you have the weirdest like posts where you're just say like one thing where you're just like mood, and it blows up,
Like
and you're
that
just like,
that egg
I
on
hate this.
Instagram. You know what that was? There was like some anonymous account that opened an account and had some sort of bet to see how many, if he could like win the amount of likes. And this it basically was a picture of an egg that got like millions of likes on Instagram and like made it to like the news because like it got like the most likes of any post ever on Instagram. And it was
Yeah,
a
I saw
freaking
that.
egg. What the heck?
I
I
don't
refuse to
know.
like it.
Yeah, I
Just by
also
the
remember what?
way. I refused to like the picture of the egg. I didn't do it.
Oh, girl, I just got an Instagram like 6 months ago. So, no, it also, this reminds me, just that real quickly reminds me of when I was talking to you and you said that a friend of yours, like she just opened up an account where she put up pictures of Jerusalem. She got like thousands
Yeah.
of followers, and she just like wasn't doing anything. She was just taking pictures of Jerusalem, and she got all these followers from it.
Yep.
No rhyme or reason, girl.
I
Um,
think she was watching in the beginning. I don't know if she's still on, but I'll tell her to go back and watch this.
watch this. We're talking about you.
Shout out to Jerusalem the Holy.
Only good things, only good things.
Yeah.
But yeah, underperforming pins, they're hard to look at, but these platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and especially Pinterest, if you are mass deleting underperforming pins, Pinterest is going to see that as spammy. They're going to suspend your account, or they're going to
Oof.
take, they're not going to, they're not going to put your pins show up. They're not going to let your pins show up in search.
Rough.
Yeah, but then when I tell people that, they get really nervous about deleting. And I was like, listen, if you delete one or two, like let's say it's all about the ratio. If you're
Mhm.
uploading, you know, however much, and you saw that, you put up a product that you decided not to make anymore or whatever, delete it. It's not the end of the world. I know it's really stressful, especially during this time period of corona, where people are relying so heavily on marketing online through all these different platforms. But you just have to you have to present yourself in the best way possible also. But don't delete
Yeah.
just because you think you're not doing well. Delete more so just to keep yourself on brand or to get rid of any mistakes.
But you could archive pins also, right?
So I think they took away the archive. They recently did a
Really?
huge makeover.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it was even confusing for me because there used to be like a plus sign on the right side where you click and you would add a
Mhm.
pin, and then they
Yeah.
changed it to be this little circle at the bottom, um,
Kind
that
of
you
like
click on it.
Instagram.
Yeah, and it because the
And
background of
LinkedIn
Pinterest is
now is
white.
also like that.
Oh, really? Oh, really? I know that. I knew it. So they it's like a little circle that you and it's really hard to find. And a lot of people are messaging me. They're like, "How do I upload pins?" I was like, hold on a second." And it's just
Yikes.
it very confusing. So
Yeah.
you can archive boards, but you can't. I don't think you can archive pins anymore. You can just delete
So
them.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. Good to know. Note to self.
good to know. Now you know.
Yep, yep.
Okay,
Okay. How do you
we're so
find
cool.
keywords on Pinterest?
Okay, so it's very similar to Instagram. You just go up to the search bar and you just start typing, and you type whatever it is that I'm just trying to think of a good example. I'm just going to stick with the fused glass. So you type in fused glass, and you're going to see a list of long tail keywords that immediately populate at the bottom when you're typing in the
Like
search bar.
Google.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So it'll be like fused glass art, fused glass artist, fused glass rainbow, whatever it is. So, you would write those down, and those are long tail keywords that would be good to put in a board description or a pin title. And then when you click enter, when you click search, along the top, you'll see all these little bubbles, different colored bubbles with words inside of them. And when Pinterest first introduced this, I think like 5 or 6 years ago, I remember being so offended when I first saw them. I was like, what, Pinterest doesn't think I'm being specific enough? Like, I know I'm looking for easy dinner recipes for one, like why does it have to say like all these different words? Like I know what I'm looking for. And I thought it was really invasive, but actually it's super helpful because it shows what people are looking for attached to that to the keyword that you typed into the search bar. So even if you
Yeah.
just typed in glass art, you would see the word fused glass, you would see Christmas gifts, you'd see all the different, short tail keywords that would work or that are most oftenly searched with the word that you typed in. So it's really great to
Mhm.
see what people, and you want to look at it from left to right. It's the most popular searched keyword along with the keyword that you typed in. So you want to really look, the right is the most important, and then I mean, the left is the most important, then going down towards the right, it gets least and least and least searched. So
Yeah.
it's still important. You still need to vary it of like what's the most searched. And again, you're going to write this all down in an Excel spreadsheet on a piece of
Mhm.
paper. And
Yeah.
yeah, just, again, like I said before, any place where you can enter text, that's what you want to do.
Stuff it in organically.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, we answered this one, so I'm going to skip that. Um, how often should I be posting to Pinterest?
Okay, so Pinterest, again, this is how Pinterest differs than Instagram. Pinterest is very much the long game. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jordana, you're the expert on this, but Instagram, I think the life of a post is a couple of minutes.
Yeah, maximum like a day or two. Probably not, you've got a really great post if it's lasting longer than that
Yeah.
for
So
the most
it's
part.
yeah, you have like a specific window. With Pinterest, it's like kind of the opposite. So you're putting up pins, but it takes around like 4 to 6 weeks for it to be fully taken in by the algorithm. Like
Mm-hmm.
because Pinterest is very, very into having quality content and, putting out quality pins. Not saying that Instagram's not about quality. It's just Pinterest, it takes a lot longer to make sure that things aren't spam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
So
I
interesting.
tell I tell people, my clients, that my clients are people that they don't have to be posting every day. What's more important is that when they do post, that it's quality content, that the pictures are looking good, what they're writing is really nice. Not saying that you have to spend hours and days over one pin, but the higher quality of the pin, the higher it's going to rate on Pinterest. Um, and it's going to come up in people's searches. So you do want to be posting somewhat regularly. You don't want to just post everything one day and just leave it dead. You want to show that you're active on it. So I
Yeah.
say, like if you're uploading 5 pins twice a week, 3 times a week, you're doing amazing. Because that's a lot.
It's a lot of content to put up.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't sound intense, but it is from experience. Okay, so what analytics should I be focusing on? And I'm going to even say, like, in regard to what you answered before, especially because you said, that the analytics only pick it up after 4 to 6 weeks. So now I'm curious to hear, like, do you look at the analytics from like pins you put up 2 months ago?
So
I have
with
some love from one of my favorite trainers. Hi,
Oh, I
Esther.
love her. Um, so basically, what was the question? I'm sorry, it's so late.
That's okay. What analytics should I be focusing on? And
Oh,
I wanted to know,
okay.
especially if pins only pick up after 4 to 6 weeks, if I should be looking at my pins from like a month or two ago.
Okay, so this is what's different as well so let me start from the beginning. Really, the only, not the only, but the most important analytic that I look at is link clicks. Other things I think are more of vanity metrics, meaning that they're just kind of there to get you excited. They don't really mean much. Like, for example, followers. Like, I've had so many clients come to me and say, well, this person has 500 followers and I only have 20. And I said, that person could have 500 followers and nobody clicking on their stuff. Oh, this
Yes.
person has 500,000 views and I only have 20,000 views a month. Okay, but like how many of those views are people clicking on their stuff and buying it? It's just
Yeah, I
um
always tell people that if you have 100 followers and every single one of them is buying from you, then you're in a really great place. If you have 500
right.
million followers and none of them are buying for you, then that number means nothing.
Yeah, and I've seen it on I think it was so spammy on Instagram post of mine where someone's like, "Oh, I love your stuff. I work with Instagram, like check out my Instagram feed." And the Instagram feed was gorgeous. This person had like 5,000 followers, but there was like 2 likes on
So
each
there you
picture.
go. So there you go.
So it's just like, that looks not so great.
Yeah.
So for link clicks, but with that being said, it's still important to see saves, how many people are repinning this pin, and then also views. Like if you're getting thousands of views, but nobody's clicking, it's just something to think about. But um, in
Do you ever
regards
write
to,
things on your pins like click here or like something like that, or
no, you don't have to say click here. As some people write that, but
but it's
with
unnecessary.
Pinterest, it's kind of like it's like
Like,
unspoken. It's like if you like it, you're gonna click on it to be brought to the site.
right.
And in regards to what you were saying before, where if a pin is from 2 months ago, so Pinterest, the analytics are what it looks like every 30 days. And because the shelf life of a pin is so long, if it's a pin from 2 months ago that's performing at all, it's going to show up in your analytics. So for example,
Oh,
I had a
cool.
client who had a pin from 2015 she is on Etsy, and it was reshared by Etsy, a pin from 2015, and it got hundreds and thousands of saves, hundreds of click-throughs,
Crazy.
and it was from
And it just shows up your
2015.
analytics now. All of a sudden.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying before. Like, it's kind of not like a double-edged sword, but it's a double-edged
Check
sword.
it out. Put the effort into it and wait to see
Yeah,
what
it's a long
happens.
game.
Yeah, kind of like YouTube's like that also.
Oh, really? I don't know anything.
Yeah. How long does it take to see results on Pinterest?
So yeah, I
Long.
think
We know that.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, people who have bloggers tend to see results a lot faster. Pinterest originally was created as a platform for bloggers, and it's still a platform that bloggers dominate. But with that being said, it is okay. So I follow these people. Like, I'm a Pinterest guru, but every guru has their guru, and my guru is called Simple Pin Media. They're amazing. They're fantastic. Their information is just so spot on and really updated. They really, really do such a great job of updating Pinterest information. So they are the ones that suggest this, and I back it up 10,000%. They say if you're an e-commerce business, you should definitely get a blog. And the person who runs Simple Pin Media, she had a podcast where she was talking about the client of hers who this client she makes tiles for floors and backsplashes, and she wasn't getting that much traffic, and the Simple Pin Media CEO told her, you need to have a blog to show that you're an authority on the field, and then you backlink back to your store. So people who are looking to update their home decor, or they're looking to retile their porch or something, whatever it is, like they're looking for information, and you have that information, but you also have the solution to their problem, which is now they need new tiles, and you make new tiles. So once she did that, she saw an explosion of traffic.
Wow.
So I think if you have that, if you're e-commerce, I think it takes a little bit longer, because it's also something like very specific, like a very specific problem that you're trying to solve, whatever it is with the product that you're trying to sell. But with a blog, it's much more general, where people are just looking, to learn something new, which Pinterest is very big about, or people are looking to solve an answer to their problem. So
Wow.
I think it just depends. Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, my favorite question. What is the difference between Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or in short, what is the difference between Pinterest and everything else?
I know there's so many out there. It's crazy.
Seriously.
So Pinterest, I think I mentioned this before. Pinterest is a visual search engine. The CEOs of Pinterest, when they went public with Pinterest, said this in their speech, saying that Pinterest is not a social media platform. It is a visual search engine. So with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, where you're connecting with people, albeit in different ways, Pinterest is just really very heavily based on visual, and there's not a lot of interaction or immediate interaction between your target audience and a potential buyer and yourself.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know about all of you watching live or in the replay later, but I learned a lot. It was really fun live learning with Sarah. So Sarah, thank you so much for
Jordana, thank you so much for asking me. When you asked me to be on this, I was so excited, and yeah, thank you so much. And this was worth staying up past my bedtime for. So.
Totally. Well, we're gonna put the link in the comments for Sarah's Facebook page so that you can follow her and all of her awesome tips and updates on Pinterest. Anyone who, oh, we have a few thank yous over here. We have a few Sarah Packer fans watching.
Please, oh, please. Thank you. I'm super
Um,
humble, by the way.
I will put the link in the comments. Also, I'm having we're going to be giving an Instagram 101 class on Wednesday. So anyone who's looking to do a deeper dive into Instagram, you can join us on Wednesday. This was awesome. Stick it in your calendar for next week, 8 p.m. Israel time, live and learn about digital marketing. And Jordana fans, thank you, Sherry. I'm a huge Sherry fan too. Sherry, when are you're joining next?
Yeah, same here.
Awesome. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.